Faith has a new frequency. The Spirit of Huntsville. KHSPLP, Huntsville, Texas. Spirit 94.3.
Hi, this is Braylon. You are listening to Fear Radio. God bless you.
Welcome in, everybody, as we get rocking and rolling here on another episode of Good Morning Huntsville, episode 702. 702 times that we've been able to say good morning to you, and we want to welcome you into the studio this morning. Underwriting support for this program made possible in part by Elliott's Jewelers. His website is elliotsjewelers.com, and also First Baptist Church, a harbor of hope in Huntsville, online at fbchuntsville.org. Normally, Pastor Jason Bay of First would be here with me on this Thankful Thursday. He is out today enjoying spring break, and I hope that many of you had a chance to hopefully maybe take off a little bit this week. I was asked here at the church if I was going to take off, but my children are still little, so spring break isn't really a thing yet, but it will be soon once they get into, once they start moving up in grades and all of that. So, I'm looking forward to that. Although, I'm a family guy, but I also like to work. And so for me, if I didn't have children, I probably would say I'll just keep working. But I want to spend time with my little ones, and I think it's important. And I want to make that kind of a message this morning as we get started. We'll have Catharine James joining us and our friends from CASA in a little bit. And probably what we'll do, since CASA is a nonprofit, we'll probably stay on the FM this morning. A lot of times when we come on the first segment, we're on Spirit 94.3, and then we just keep it on social media after that. But whenever we do have an opportunity to talk with nonprofits, I want to make sure that we're highlighting them the best that we can. And so we will probably stay on the FM for that second segment as well. That'll be coming up here in just a few moments. But I wanted to talk about something real quick about just priorities, especially those with families. And this morning, as you heard me, I was talking about, the importance of work and what we have to do, but I also want to remind you of the importance of family. It's something that, as I've had children especially, that I've really started to dig into, and this morning was one of those mornings to where I thought, okay, everything's going to be smooth. I got the children to sleep pretty early. I actually got them bathed by 6:30 last night. I was surprised. Got them fed early. Got them bathed. That was before Mama even got home. I was feeling good. And I finally got my daughter down last night. We laid down about 8 o'clock, and so that's pretty early. With this time change, it's been difficult. So really, it would have been 7, but 8 o'clock because of the time change. And so I got her down and got up early this morning, about 5:30. Finally got her up a little bit after 6. She had a hard time getting up. And despite all of that, we were still somehow late this morning. And, my first reaction is, I've got to figure out a way to do better. But I did. Honestly, I feel like I did the best that I could have done. And sometimes things are out of our control, and we just try and we just keep on moving forward. And I started thinking about the priority of family as I was coming in this morning. And I was thinking about this in Matthew 6:33. God's word reads this: "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." And you're probably asking, well, how does that tie into priority? Why? There's nothing more clear in that verse. It says, seek first the kingdom of God. And that should be our number one priority, is where are we putting our faith? Are we putting our faith in this world? Are we putting our faith in our job? Are we putting our faith in that the money's going to come in, that we can pay the next bill? Are we putting our faith in the doctors? Even though there's a lot of great doctors, I'm not downplaying what doctors do. But first and foremost, we need to put our faith in Jesus Christ, and he needs to be our foundation. And that doesn't mean that we can't have faith in a doctor or have faith in other things, but the number one thing that we really need to put our full faith in is in Jesus Christ. Life has a way of pulling us in all these different directions. And maybe this morning you're waking up feeling that. Maybe you're feeling that tension of something's pulling you on this side, and not just pulling you, but maybe even pushing you down. You feel like there's something on top of you that's just pushing you down into the ground. Work schedules, bills, those of you with children, practices. And my daughter was enrolled in gymnastics for a short time, and that was only one day a week, and I could feel the pressure of that. I was like, man, how am I going to do this? Because my wife works a lot, and I work a lot, and by the grace of the good Lord, one day my daughter, 3 months into it, stopped in the middle of her lesson and said, Daddy, I don't want to do this anymore. And I kind of turned around to the side, and I was like, yes. But then I wanted to make sure, she didn't see me do that, by the way, but I wanted to make sure that she was fully done. And I said, are you sure, sweetheart? Because I'll do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to force my child to do something in that capacity that she doesn't want to do. Now, there's other things that, yeah, you're going to come to church with me. But when it comes to stuff like that, although it's important, I'm not going to force my child to continue to do something that they don't want to do in that capacity. And so we talked for a minute, and she says, no, Daddy, I'm done. And she was. I mean, she had her little leotard on and everything. And she decided in that split second that she was done. And she has been done. I asked her a while back, and this was 6-7 months ago. And I asked her a while back, I said, are you still done with it? She says, yeah, Daddy, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm done with that still. And I understand what it's like to be a parent and to be pulled away in different directions. I understand what it's like to be a business professional when you've got meetings lined up and things that you have to be at and errands to run and all these different things. And for those of you listening this morning, out of 5 of the 7 correctional institutions that this signal reaches, to a degree, I'm not going to say every one of you, but there are some things in my life in my 20s and early 30s that, that I call it my getting to know Jesus days. And so I can't put myself in everyone's shoes, but to a certain degree, I do understand what some people are going through this morning. And I want you to know that there is hope, and that hope is found in Christ. And you can always find a better way, and the better way is only in a relationship with Him. Sometimes it feels like the day is over before it even began. And in full transparency, this morning after everything was going, the reason that we ended up being late is my daughter threw a tantrum about her shoes. And we just gave a whole trash bag of shoes. And I don't want to say like trash bag because that makes it sound like they're not valuable, but that's the best way I can describe it. An entire black trash bag of shoes that are still perfect shape to Goodwill. Last night when I picked the kids up, we ran across the street to Goodwill, and Braylon goes, what is all that? I said, those are all your shoes. When you have a little girl, and I assume the problem only gets worse as they get older, shoes are a thing, and even with the little ones. And she probably had, I don't know how, people have blessed us tremendously with clothes and shoes, which we're thankful. And if you have them, bring them. We will gladly take any of those that you have, especially for a little boy. But I ended up probably taking 30 or 40 pair of shoes to go. I was like, how did my child have this many shoes? And but it was this morning, she was having a hard time putting on her shoes. And so my first thought, and I even verbally said, I said, well, it's going to be one of those days today. I can already feel it. And I was speaking that like into the day and into my life to get started. Was like, this is how it's going to be today. And I think as you wake up, you got to change. I heard a pastor one time out of Louisiana. He said, you got to change your stinking thinking. And so maybe this morning there's some stinking thinking that's going on that you've got to change, just like me this morning, that I needed to change my attitude about how I was waking up and the things that I was already confessing over this day, or professing over this day, rather, that isn't true. And so I want to encourage you this morning. Don't have that attitude that I had this morning. Say, well, it's going to be one of those days today. Because guess what? If you have that attitude, it's probably going to be one of those days today. So just pause for a moment this morning. And I want to remind you, too, that if we're not careful, the things that matter most in our lives can slowly slip to the bottom of the list, because all of a sudden we're prioritizing what we have to do in our careers and what we have to do just to get through the day, that we forget about the small things in life. I always give my wife a kiss before we leave, and I was in such a rush this morning. I had my window rolled up. She put Caden or Braylon in her seat and ran around to give Caden a kiss. And in my mind, in a quick split second, I was like, I ain't got time. And I am sorry, sweetheart. I felt so convicted. I rolled down the window, because you better make time always for the people that are the most important in your life. So I rolled down the window. And even though I was frustrated because it was taking so long to leave, I said, I love you, sweetheart, and gave my wife a kiss this morning. So do not skip over the things that matter the most in your life because you feel rushed, or priorities that you think are more important than the things that are really important. God reminds us this that I read earlier in Matthew 6:33, seek first his kingdom. And that means putting him at the center of everything that we do. There's a song that says, Jesus at the center of it all. It also means something too, though. It means this, remembering the gifts that he has placed right in front of us, especially our families. And maybe some of you today are listening, like I said, where we reach 5 of the 7 correctional institutions here in Huntsville. And maybe today you're in a situation literally behind a wall saying, I don't have anybody on the outside. I don't have a family member. I don't have a friend. I don't have anybody. And I want to encourage you that you do have one, and the one that matters the most is Jesus Christ. He is your family. And so if you feel like you don't have a father, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have a mother. Maybe you don't have a brother or sister or anybody else. You can always cling first and foremost to that hope that Christ is there for you. And so for the rest of us, at the end of the day, your kids aren't going to remember all the emails that you had to go through or how many errands you had to run or how late you had to stay at the office. All they're going to remember is, was Daddy here? Was Mommy here? Were they present for me? My daughter at 4 years old knows when I'm not around because she will tell me, now, Daddy, are you going to have to leave in the morning? Who's taking us to school? Are you going to be picking me up? She knows all of these things now, and she gets very upset if I tell her no. That's just life, but I understand that I need to be present as much as possible. Your children are going to remember the conversations that you had with them. My little girl is so funny because she remembers everything, and I have no idea because her daddy don't have a brain that remembers anything. But yet, whenever we talk about the day, she'll talk about something 2 weeks ago, but she calls it last earlier. Instead of yesterday, her favorite phrase is last earlier. She'll go, Daddy, last earlier. So I'm teaching her to say yesterday or a few days ago. She's starting to understand, but it's still cute to say last earlier. I don't know where she picked that up. But the other day she goes, last earlier, were we at the zoo? I was like, baby, we were at the zoo like 3 weeks ago. She's, do you remember the lion? Last earlier, do you remember the monkey? I was like, yes, I remember all those things. They remember everything. You have to prioritize what matters the most in your life. One thing, too, that I've really enjoyed is praying with my children. It's something that we have very much so taken serious. And with little ones, they get distracted very easy. Their attention span is very, very minuscule. And so what I've done to curb that, because my children have gotten into this phase to where they're like, we don't want to pray, Daddy. I was like, no. Remember a while ago I talked about there's things that we're going to do whether you don't want to do it or not. One of those things is we're going to pray. And so what I did to curb that disinterest is I've taught them how to get on their knees and pray. And just that simple act of obedience of getting on your knees, that has created some new thing in my children's mind that is exciting to them. And I want them to be excited about prayer, not because of the motions, but because of who we're praying to. And they'll learn that in time. But it's really neat now because they have a little couch and these little round cushions, and they can't wait to put those little round cushions down in the living room and literally get on their knees and pray. And that's something that they enjoy doing again. And so maybe there's something in your life that there's a routine that you do over and over. And just like my children, changing that simple routine of now, instead of just sitting and praying, getting on their knees and pray, maybe there's something in your life today that you need to change the routine because maybe you're burnt out. Maybe you said, man, I am so sick and tired of doing the same thing over and over. And so today, change that routine a little bit. And I guarantee it's going to bring some new life into the things that you once enjoyed. A couple of other things that I wanted to mention before we go is that it is time to reset our priorities. Put the Lord first. Love your family and love them well. Don't just love them. I know that there's some people out there that's like, you don't know my cousin Bobby, man. You don't know Margaret. You don't know any of them people. There is probably a Margaret listening, and if you are Margaret, I wasn't calling you out because I love you, Margaret. But maybe there are some people this morning that you said, but you can still love people. And you can love people well. Doesn't mean that you got to be their best friend. And there's some people that you just don't even want to talk to. But I will tell you this, that if Christ can sacrifice it all for us, then we can at least say, you know what? I know that I don't have to live in that situation, but I'm at least going to have forgiveness. I heard something last night. We have Focus on the Family that airs every night here on Spirit at 9 o'clock. And there was a Focus on the Family Minute that aired yesterday. And a lady was talking about her mother and her did not have a healthy relationship at all growing up. In fact, she said it was very turbulent, and there was a lot of things that she wishes she never had to endure. She and her mom just didn't get along. And in a moment, she realized that the only way that she could move forward in her relationship with Christ was she had to forgive her mother. And she said that means I don't have to call my mom every day and be there and act like everything was fine, because it wasn't. But she said, I genuinely need to forgive my mother. And here's the key word. She says, I need to forgive her without bitterness, because the bitterness will hold me back. And then I'm just going to be in that same cycle that I'm in, and I'll never be able to forgive her. And so maybe this morning for some of you, there's that bitterness factor that's in your life. I had it in my life. Many of you know my story, and I'll share it in depth one day, but there was some bitterness, and I learned through that process that bitterness can become a sin, and you have to let go of the bitterness if you want to move forward. Not only, most importantly, in your relationship with Christ, but you also have to let go of that bitterness if you want to move forward in your career, if you want to move forward with something in your family, if you want to move forward with goals and dreams and things that you want to do in life. You have to let go of that bitterness. It doesn't mean that things didn't happen, but what it does mean is that it's time to let it go and put it all on the cross. And so think about those things today, because maybe when our priorities line up with God's heart, that the rest of life has a way of falling into place. Hey, we'll take a brief break. It's been fun this morning just interacting with you guys. Many of you are already on social media, and those of you on the radio side of things, we want to hear from you. You can text us at 936-339-0139. Again, that number is 936-339-0139. You can also email us at victory@spiritradio.fm. We do have our friends from CASA here in studio with us, so we'll take a break. And normally, like I said, we go back to music and programming. We stay with you on social media. But I do want the great message of CASA, a nonprofit here in our community, to get out over the airwaves this morning. So we're going to keep it right here on the FM signal for another segment, and we will be back in a moment. Stay with us. We continue promoting, celebrating the good in our community. This is Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be back in a moment. All right, friends, welcome back as we continue on this morning here on Spirit 94.3. Good morning, Huntsville. Let us know that you're out there. We'd love to hear from you. We will stay on the social media feed here for just a few moments, and also on Spirit 94.3 because we have a couple of guests. I'll introduce them formally in a moment, but let us know again that you're out there, 936-339-0139. You can also email us, victory@spiritradio.fm. Well, it's my joy and privilege to welcome a couple of friends who have been on this show before, and I forgot to adjust that camera right there. Kyle is here today, our studio. Kyle, can you zoom out on the top of that camera just a bit just on the very top, there you go. All right. And Katie, because we'll have Katie on a camera, but Katie, turn around and wave at the people. Right there she is. Katie Thompson is with us this morning. And also our good friend, Catharine James. There's a children's story that goes, the cat came back the very next day. And it's Catharine, and it flows perfectly. So welcome back to CASA, Catharine.
Thank you. Very happy to be back.
Have you ever heard of that little song?
Actually, no.
Yeah, except it kind of has like a bad connotation to it, though, because it's like the cat came back the very next day. We thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. He just wouldn't stay away. And then the rest of the song goes, give me a meow, meow. So, anyways, that ties in with children, so it's a children's song.
That's funny.
So welcome back, Catharine James.
Thank you.
Back at the advocacy supervisor position.
Yes.
So yeah,
back in the same position.
Back in the saddle. So, it is one of those things, though. It's like Huntsville. When we left, we missed this community so much, and the good here in Huntsville. Mm-hmm. And even though I was having the time of my life and the career that I'd always dreamed of, there was still something missing. And that the number one thing was just the Lord told me, like, man, it's time. I've given you everything you've wanted. It's time. You better come back to me first. But then secondly, we miss this community. And so it is good to have you back, Catharine.
Thank you. And I've been in Huntsville. I didn't leave Huntsville. But, you talking about priorities this morning, while it was a hard decision to leave, and I was gone less than a year, but the reason I left was my first grandbaby was born. And so I was taking care of her. And so kind of flows right with what you were saying this morning about priorities.
Perfect. And by the way, full disclosure, she didn't tell me any of this, so that wasn't like the story tying in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, also joining us for a second time, we had to pay her big dollars to be here this morning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Katie Thompson, welcome back in. Katie, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I'm glad to be back.
It is. Well, y'all, it's just incredible the work that CASA does, and before we kind of dig into that, there's some new folks that are listening. We're on a FM radio signal now too on 94.3, which is really cool. And Catharine, just kind of let the people out there know a little bit about you for those that may not know you, and give us just a little story about you if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, I am a retired school teacher, and when I left the education profession, I really was looking for something to fill my time and something meaningful, something that would, in some ways, kind of replace, all that I gave to the education profession, that kind of passion.
What were you teaching at?
Well, not in this area.
Not in this area, okay.
But yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
So
she's on witness protection program. No, I'm just kidding, Catharine.
But anyway, so I found CASA, and I was an advocate for 3 years. And then about 4 years ago, a position on staff came open. And so, the Lord just worked that out for me to move right into supervising advocates of one that, I had just been one. So that's really where my heart is. I love so many things about this program, and there's a lot of things I would be happy doing for CASA, but this is the position I really feel called to support our advocates.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you have to be passionate about what you do to find success. And I know that both of you ladies are extremely passionate about what you do. CASA is the court-appointed special advocates, giving children a voice in the court system that desperately need it. And Katie Thompson has been with the organization, what now, well over a year, right?
Close to a year.
Close to a year. I thought it was over a year now.
It feels like it's been over a year.
Well, let us know just kind of a little bit about your journey and kind of your role again at CASA, if you don't mind, Katie.
I graduated from Sam Houston back in May, and been looking for jobs, kind of looking for a purpose and a mission, and just submitted my interview into CASA, and they called me and gave me the job a day before I graduated. And so I got to go into that job right after graduation. It was such a blessing. My role has grown so much in the last 8-9 months. I'm so excited to be there, and there's just little highlights throughout my week and my day that just always make it to where I know I'm in the right place and God put me there.
We know in any organization, especially a nonprofit, you have a title, but you kind of do a lot. But
yes,
you do things outside of that title. One thing that we've learned in ministry is you don't hire really the position, you hire the person. you guys have the position, but you're also the person as well. Katie, what is kind of your role at CASA, your official designation, if you will?
So I am also an advocate supervisor for Walker and Trinity County specifically. I am over all the advocates over Walker and Trinity County, so I'm there for moral support. I'm there to guide them, to go to court with them, to be a voice to them when they need one, and a place where they can come talk and get advice if they need it. But I always tell everyone that wants to know about CASA that our advocates are doing the true work, that I'm just there in the background to be a support and of assistance when they need me. Yeah.
Well, here in a moment, we're going to talk about just y'all's a couple of things. One of them is y'all's annual volunteer appreciation event. So we want to highlight that and the Advocate of the Year and Volunteer of the Year. We'll do that in just a moment. I do want to stay with Katie for just a moment because Catherine has been at CASA before. For you, just a little bit under a year. What have you learned? Like, what was your mindset? Let me word it this way. What was your mindset coming into the job? And maybe tell us over this almost year how much you've grown and some things that you've learned and maybe some things that you didn't expect that you're like, wow, okay, this is really what it is.
Well, I thought my degree in victim studies was going to prepare me more for dealing with foster care, but it is a whole nother ballgame. Stepping into it, you don't realize the things that children go through that they should not go through, the trauma, the neglect, the abuse that you see firsthand, and to be able to stand there with your advocates and support them and know that those children have somebody who is their one and only is just so... It's just such a blessing. It's just so amazing. When I first started, I was kind of scared to go to work sometimes and to go to court because I felt like I wasn't doing my advocates justice. I felt that I was doing my best, but I knew that there was something that was missing. And Rachel Drake, our program director, was such a guiding light for me, and I'm so grateful for her. I actually had an advocate when I first started tell me that I kind of grew into the introverted to an extroverted site in court, that I grew, in her words, as a lioness in the courtroom because it's not a place of fear to be when you're representing children. It's a place of strength and growth, and you need to represent them in a way that they need to be and to show that you care for them and you want what's best for them, and that's what we're there for, is their best interest.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's the core of it. You're there for the best interest of the children. Catherine, you know that very well, being involved before and now being back, and it is incredible, and kind of having some support. It's not just one role now. I mean, or one position. It's basically two. There's a lot that needs to be done for advocates, and that's why there are a couple of supervisors now. Maybe highlight that and just how helpful it is, to have two of you guys that are able to oversee that.
Yes, it's very helpful to now have Katie on staff. When I left, I was the only supervisor over all three counties. And of course, I enjoyed it. I loved getting to know every advocate in our program instead of just certain counties. But it definitely is much better to have just that we can split the counties, just so that we can each give our advocates the time and attention they need and us not be spread too thin.
Well, you think about how much this area is growing too, and the need is now more than ever. And I've always said this, and I don't say it out of disrespect. I wish you guys didn't have to be here today. I wish that we didn't have to have a CASA, but the reality is we do. We need to have an organization that can be there for these children. I've always said that children are most vulnerable, and now as a parent myself, as a dad myself, you get a little more emotional. You see things or you hear things before you have children, and it tugs at you. But then when you have children and you hear or see something, it tugs. Man, I'll just be honest. I don't think I've ever cried as much as I've cried since I've had my two little ones. And you hear something on the news, a tragic story, and then your first thought is, wow, how did that happen? Or, my goodness, what if that would have been my child in an unfortunate circumstance? And that's why it's so important that we have CASA and that we have volunteers and that we have people who are passionate and committed. It's not an organization that just checks off a box. It's an organization that literally encompasses the heart of these children. And that's why it's important. I want to lead in with this and why I'm saying this, because it takes volunteers to make the organization happen. And recently, holding y'all's annual, has that happened yet, the Volunteer Appreciation Event?
Yes, we had it in February.
And that's where everybody was named.
Yes.
So maybe, Catherine, I'll stay with you, and then we'll bring Katie back into the conversation. But highlight a little bit about that event that just took place.
Okay, so every year we have an event, and we try to make it really special with, fun theme and stuff. But the purpose of the event is just to highlight all of the work that our advocates have done over the year and to just love on them in a different way than we do on a daily basis and show our appreciation to them. And it's always really, really difficult, but we do name an Advocate of the Year.
I was going to say that's got to be really hard.
Oh, that is
so many good
so hard because our advocates are the best. We say that all the time, and we're not biased because we can see other programs, and while we appreciate the work that all advocates do in all programs, we really do have a top-notch program with excellent advocates. So we really sit around the table and try to narrow it down to one person. And it's so hard. It's hard to even explain it because, you don't want to leave anybody out, but we always highlight all of the work that all of them have done. And then we do, one way or another, narrow it down to.
I'm having visions of like American Idol or like The Voice. Have you ever? Do you
Yes.
guys? And like it towards the end of the season, they're starting to pick the finalists,
Yes.
and they have the pictures, and they're like, "Well, what about them?" Well, that's going to be a hard one. That's what I'm picturing with you guys, like a bunch of pictures on a table, and you're sorting through them.
It's probably similar. We do sit down with like a solid list of descriptions of everybody to sit, and we kind of get one voice. We get Laura Green in because she's not within the advocacy to say like, you need to read these because we're so deep into this, we don't even know what to do anymore. We don't know who to pick.
Yeah, and we're really splitting hairs. We're like, well, this advocate just has this one little thing that we can say tip the scale, but it is so minute.
Minor.
Yeah. But that is a very good problem to have.
It is. Well, Katie, through that, you guys named y'all's Volunteer of the Year, the Advocate of the Year. Do you want to highlight a little bit about that?
Yes. So our Advocate of the Year was Leslie Knappen. She's actually one of my advocates out of Trinity County, and she was just amazing throughout the year. All of our advocates have been absolutely just outstanding, but she has a teen boy in foster care that has been in and out of juvie, had a lot of trauma in his life, and she's driven thousands of miles when she didn't have to go visit him, put money into his commissary account when she didn't have to, and just been a guiding light for that boy, and it's just been life-changing for him. And he calls her when he needs her, whenever it is, whether it be in juvie or whether it be out in his placement, and that is just like his closest relative to him is his CASA.
I think that's incredible because you just revealed something to me that I didn't know, that you guys were also helping young people that may be behind in a prison system. I had no idea about that, and this signal reaches people that are behind a prison wall. And so you think about all the things that children have to go through, and then there's some things that children are going through that maybe they got into some trouble, and y'all are even there for them. I had no idea.
Yes, and another fun fact about Leslie, when her I've supervised her in the past, obviously, but when her teen was in the TJJD, they would have family day, and she would go.
Wow.
And spend, and she was his family. Mm-hmm. Like, I say it all the time this way. She is his person, his only real person, solid person. And she's been with him for 3 years. Unwavering.
Absolutely amazing.
Well, I think it's so important that we support organizations like CASA, and I can say that and say it here over the FM because you guys are a nonprofit. You give back so much to this community, but you also give back in the biggest ways that you can imagine for young people who need a voice in the court system. And that's what y'all do. You'll go in and y'all provide a voice for the voiceless. And I can only imagine the things that y'all have had to endure and go through, and especially, Katie, as you said earlier, and we're not going to get into those because I know that there's confidentiality in a lot of things, but You mentioned earlier that with your degree plan, like, you know, a lot, you went through the program, and there's a lot to be said for that. But then when you get into the actual position, you were like, wow, I had no idea that some of this was like this, right?
Yes. And I'm not a mother myself, so I can't relate on the level that a lot of parents do to see, I mean, their own kids go through something, but let alone in foster care to go without parents.
Mm-hmm.
And victim studies, they teach you about trauma, they teach you about abuse and neglect, but it is not firsthand. It's not watching it, your advocates' emotions, and watching them go through court, and when things don't go the way they want it to go, and just the defeat they feel and the defeat you feel. There is times like that. And for people to be able to support CASA, to volunteer their time and effort for donations, that all goes towards these kids that don't have anybody or that only have their CASA. And that's why we're here.
And Catherine, I want to be clear on something and mention something too, because there is intentional neglect on children. Obviously, there are things that happen that you just wish, why did that have to happen? And those things sadly are intentional, but there is unintentional neglect, and sometimes parents just don't know, they don't realize. And something that I've had to learn is, how dare me to judge a parent now that I'm a parent myself. Man, when I was growing up, you know, or younger, I say growing up, like this was, golly, 20 years ago. I was 21. That's scary. Like, I'm seeing like actors now, like, you know, that I used to watch growing up, they're 80. I was like, what happened to me? But what I'm getting at is, you know, when I was younger and I'd go to a restaurant and there'd be a kid that was just, you know, screaming. I was like, get a hold of your kid. Well, you're a terrible parent. Well, kids do that. They scream. But where I'm going with this, I've learned to not be judgmental towards parents. Now, some parents, they have done horrendous things and they need to pay for what they've done. Obviously, there's a consequence for every action that we have. But there are some parents who just simply don't know, and maybe they grew up in a terrible environment, and that's all that they know. Mm-hmm. And maybe they got into a situation where they weren't expecting to have a child, and now this whole new season. So where I'm going with this is, y'all are also helping to provide resources to the parents as well. It's not just the children, which is the main focus, but you're also helping the parents. Maybe explain a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. And you're absolutely right. A good number of our cases is neglect. And while neglect is abuse, it's not always intentional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yes, our main focus is the child and being a voice for the child in court and speaking toward the best interests. But the best interest of the child is, when possible, to be reunited with the parent. Mm-hmm. And so our advocates do a great job of forming relationships with the parents. We have standards that our advocates are to communicate or attempt to communicate on a monthly basis with the parents. And so we have had parents that, especially if they're in the process of getting their children back, a lot of times they have lost their home, mm-hmm. Because maybe they were in jail, or just for a variety of reasons. They're basically starting over. And so to get their children back, they have to have safe and stable housing. They have to have a job, and, you know, all these criterion that they have to meet. And so we are able to help them with that through another group in Huntsville, Hope's Bridge.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Hope's Bridge, we can go over there and get anything we need for the children and the family. One case I had, they needed everything. So they got couch, pots and pans, dishes, you know, all those things are helping the parent, but ultimately helping the child.
Yeah.
And so, yes, helping the parents, and it can be difficult at first to change your mindset, because it's easy to just be upset that you let your child get into this situation.
Yeah.
But we have to embrace the parents and do what we can to support them too. And during the times in the cases where it does come to a termination of parental rights, I say this all the time, no matter how convinced I am that our recommendation to terminate rights is the correct one, we never leave court that day feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, we know it was the right thing to do, but it's not. It's still a very somber thing, and we take that very seriously. But we have a lot of opportunities to help the parents, and like I said, helping the parents ultimately is working for the best interest of the child.
That is the goal, is the best interest. That's the mission, is for the best interest of the child. And you guys do such a wonderful job with that. Katie, I wanted to bring you back into the conversation. We'll wrap up here in just a little bit. But maybe somebody today is watching or listening on 94.3, or they're watching on social media, and they're saying, I've heard about CASA. I want to get involved. I want to be an advocate, but I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm hearing some tough things. But my heart says I want to help these children. I wouldn't say it's a challenging, like you've got to know everything. Let me put it this way. You can go into this and not have to know everything, because nobody does. You guys provide the training. So let me frame it like that. So if somebody's nervous about this, I don't know how to approach a courtroom. You guys go through all the training on this. Maybe highlight that for someone who's interested in helping.
Yeah, we do. So if somebody is interested and just wants to know a little bit about CASA, we do CASA 101s. Sometimes they're in the afternoon and in the evenings. We try to do them monthly. So they can always contact us at CASAWalkerCounty.com, and also Kim Weezer, and she can get with you about CASA 101, and that just gives an overview as to what we do as CASA, what our advocates do, and how we provide for the children that we serve. We do what's called PSVT training, and it's a pre-service training. Once you get into CASA to be an advocate, it's around, I believe, 36 hours of training. So it's about 3 weeks worth of your Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays to become an advocate. So it's a lot of training, and it's a lot of knowledge. And our advocates getting into CASA, once they're out of training, you're always going to be lacking knowledge for whatever it is you're going into, whatever case it is. You're always going to be unsure until you become what we say is a veteran of CASA that's been there a while. But we try to prepare you the best we can. And a lot of our advocates, they learn as they go, and they learn how to provide for these children and learn for what their best interest is.
Yeah, you're always learning. I'm 702 episodes into this, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So,
Yes.
but I know a little bit to get us going, and that's what it takes. You just need to know what you need to know. And then CASA's providing those resources and taking care of what needs to be done. Again, I appreciate y'all so much. Catherine, it's so good to have you back.
Thank you.
When she walked in this morning, Katie, you brought the joy too, but Miss Catherine, when she walked in, like I said, I just had that mindset this morning. Today's going to be one, and I had to change it. And it's like the moment that I walk here to the church property, there's just always this presence that I feel here of the Lord, and immediately I sense joy. And then Catherine walks in, and she just joyed me out. So appreciate you, Catherine.
Happy
Thanks.
to help.
Yeah, and Katie, thank you as well. It's
you.
so tremendous to see a young person who has fulfilled a calling, and it is a calling for you. I know the Lord put this on your heart,
Absolutely.
and you weren't just searching for a job; you were trying to find your place and what the Lord had you to do. And
Absolutely.
here you are at CASA. It's been pretty cool, right?
So grateful.
Yeah.
And God has blessed me so much. I just can't even explain how much it is.
Awesome. Well, hey, a couple of last things. Kids Expo, of course, the Food Truck Fridays always happen. When is that? I know this, but I don't know it off the top of my head. But it's once a month over at McWilliams and Sons, the Food Truck Friday, where Frank's
Yes.
Tacos shows up.
Yes.
And that is it the first Friday?
Yes, first
Okay.
Friday of every month.
I was trying to make sure I had that down.
Yes.
Catherine's like, wait a minute, I've been gone. I'm back.
Yeah. Some of those things are not as fresh on my mind as they used to be.
That's why I was nervous whenever I was asking Katie. I was like, and the volunteer of the year and the advocate of the year. And I looked and I was like, she's very confident. So I'm going to toss it
Yes.
over to her for that. That's
Yes.
really good because I forget stuff easily. But the Kids Expo is right around the corner. We'll be out there with Hello Huntsville and also Spirit 94.3 on Saturday, April the 25th. Were you at CASA last year during the Kids Expo?
I was not. This is my first time
Okay.
to experience Kids Expo.
But you've been there before,
Yes, I have.
Catherine.
Yes.
So let the people know a little bit about what they can expect. This is a really tremendous event, and we're hoping for another successful year and praying for no rain.
Right. So we just have a bunch of vendors out there who are set up to just give the community information about the services they have for children. So anything from, like dance studios, I think Kelsey Siebold's going to be out there, and the kids are going to get to like sort of play doctor or
Yeah,
whatever.
I was going to say that. I was going to say doctoring. That's my terminology.
Right,
they're going
doctoring.
to be out there doctoring.
Yes.
So that's going to be really cute. Just anyone who has a service that they provide for children is invited to have a booth, and then parents just come. I mean, there's face painting, there's just all kinds of fun things for the kids to do while they're there, but lots and lots of information for parents to get about sports and churches, VBS,
yeah, a lot of that goes on.
A lot of churches are there to share the programs that they have for children. So you don't want to miss it. It's a fun time and a lot of useful information.
Yeah, I thoroughly look forward to this every year. And again, it'll take place on Saturday, April the 25th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the parking lot of the Huntsville Church of Christ off Highway 30. So come out and be a part. And Katie, get ready, because it's
so excited.
If Laura Green's behind it, it's going to be a big event, and it's going to be successful. And it is. It has grown every year, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much again. More information is online, casaofwalkercounty.org. That is the website, casaofwalkercounty.org. You can get more information. And I want to encourage you to support CASA in any way that you can. First and foremost, with your prayers. That's the most important thing. But if you are able to volunteer and give your time, it's such an incredible organization. And also, of course, as always, every organization needs financial support. So find a way that you can help, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through volunteering or giving financially. You can find out all that information online, casaofwalkercounty.org. So thank you all again. What's on tap the rest of the day, Catherine? What do you got going on?
What's on tap? Just, my normal stuff. I'm going to go check my emails, and I have a court report to work on, and just normal stuff.
Going with the flow. Katie, what about you? What does your rest of your day look like?
I actually have court this morning, so I'm going to go to court for a little while. Hopefully not all day. We'll be successful. And then just some normal CASA stuff in the afternoon.
All right. Well, there you go. Sounds like a pretty routine but good day to help out families and children. So, well, friends, that'll wrap it up here on Good Morning Huntsville on the FM side. We're going to go back to more music and programming, and I will conclude the show in a little bit on social media. So if you'd like to stay engaged with the show, you can head over to HelloHuntsvilleTX.com, the Hello Huntsville YouTube, or the Hello Huntsville Facebook page, as we will continue the show there. For the rest of you on FM this morning, we'll go back again to music and programming. Appreciate our friends from CASA being here. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment as we continue promoting, celebrating the good, whether it's through music, if you're listening, or on social media with the rest of the show. We'll be back in a moment. God bless you guys. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Tomorrow's Promise Montessori schools believe in creating spaces where children can learn, grow, and use their imaginations. At any Tomorrow's Promise location, children enjoy the largest playgrounds in town. Tomorrow's Promise Montessori is a fun school where every child learns at their own pace, and mastery of a concept is expected before moving on to the next concept. At Tomorrow's Promise, every child is respected, loved, and nurtured for the unique individual that they are.
Tomorrow's Promise Academy on Veterans Memorial now open. Visit tomorrowspromise.info for more information. Education you can trust.
Are you ready for a better way to bank? Join Walker County Federal Credit Union today. As a member, you'll enjoy low-cost loans, no annual fees, and easy online access. We're not just a credit union. We're a community dedicated to your financial success. Experience friendly service tailored for just you. Why wait? Join us online at walkercountyfcu.com or drop by our location at 1802 Normal Park Drive, Walker County Federal Credit Union, member NCUA.
Since 2010, the Oak Ridge Disciple House has helped men break free from addiction, not with quick fixes, but lasting change through Jesus Christ. They've celebrated 167 graduates at Oak Ridge and 138 more at Interfaith with an 80% success rate. That's compared to just 5% in most secular programs. The fact is, Jesus works. And now, celebrating 15 years, they're building their third house in Tennessee and just launched a women's program, Restoration Ranch in Texas. It's all for God's glory. And here's the heart of it. They never turn anyone away for lack of money. In fact, 95% of families receive scholarships. As one person put it, don't talk about it, be about it. Every penny counts. Donate today at oakridgedisciplehouse.com and help change a life forever. The Oak Ridge Disciple House. Online at oakridgedisciplehouse.com. Real recovery, real hope.
Hi, I'm Billy Cawthon, manager of Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home. We know times of loss are tough, and you need a place to feel comfortable and cared for. At Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, we pride ourselves on being with you during those really tough days. You can rest assured that we will be on your side and by your side every step of the way. Thank you for your trust. Sam Houston Memorial Funeral Home, supporting families every day, every step.
The Oak Ridge Disciple House is a faith-based 501c3 nonprofit Christian character building ministry helping men 18 and older who are suffering from drug and alcohol addictions. If you or someone you know needs help, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that light can be found through the Oak Ridge Disciple House. For more information, visit oakridgedisciplehouse.com.
Friend Rob Hipp here for Elliott's Jewelers. The new year is here, and what a better way to start out the new year than celebrating the moments that matter the most. And you can do that with Elliott's Jewelers here in Huntsville. Whether it's an engagement, an anniversary, a birthday, or maybe just a fresh start, Elliott hand selects every diamond, and he creates meaningful pieces that are designed just for you. There's no crowded showroom, no pressure, just personal attention and jewelry that tells your story. So again, start the new year with something timeless. It's Elliott's Jewelers here in Huntsville by appointment only. Book online at elliotsjewelers.com.
All right, friends, back at it as we continue on this morning. About to wrap up here in just a few moments. Huge shout out to our great friends at CASA. Appreciate Katie and Catherine for coming by. Kim Weezer, by the way, sent us a message earlier that the Food Truck Friday will not be on Friday in April because of, I believe, Easter or Good Friday or something like that. Sorry, you sent that to me, Kim, and I can't find the comment now because we broadcast this all across the board on Spirit 94.3. We're on LinkedIn. We're on like 3 different Facebook channels. We're also on YouTube. And so comments come in from all over the place. And I saw that briefly on somewhere. The reason that we're able to broadcast on so many platforms, we have to pay for a lot of that. It's thanks to our friends at HMH, Huntsville Memorial Hospital. They are our streaming sponsor. And due to their generous support, that enables us to be able to broadcast on so many various platforms where people can engage and be a part of it. So again, thank you to HMH and all of their support in helping us to reach not just right here in Huntsville, but we literally reach all over the place. And it's, again, thanks to that support. Kim, by the way, said the next Food Truck Friday, it will be on a Thursday, April the 9th, because of Good Friday holiday. So it will actually be on a Thursday, April the 9th is the day for the next Food Truck Thursday instead of Friday for CASA. So go out and support that. Frank's Tacos, appreciate him. Hey, the show is made possible in part by Elliott's Jewelers. You always see his logo right here behind me on the, it's always weird trying to do that, right here behind me on the screen. Elliott has been with us literally since day one. And before we got this show going, I was doing it through another organization, and Elliott has always supported what I've done, and he wants to promote the good in the community. CASA was one of those that we talked about whenever I launched Hello Huntsville, and he said, I want to get behind that and support these nonprofits, and that's what we're doing. We want to get the word out to as many people as possible, and I don't ever want things to be redundant on this show. We're 702 episodes into it, and we have been so blessed to be able to still be here nearly 3 years later, over 3 years later, talking about the good in our community. It does take a lot of work to do this and a lot of support, and it's folks like Elliott's Jewelers who make that happen. For all your jewelry needs, go by and see my good friend Elliot. He's online at elliotsjewelers.com. Set up the appointment and then go by and see him. He will take excellent care of you. And, of course, here on this Thankful Thursday, shout out to First Baptist Church, a harbor of hope here in our community. More information is online at fbchuntsville.org. And it's time to start thinking about Easter. And what are you doing for Easter? I think, number one, it's always important to be in church on Easter, especially. It's always good to be at church anyways, but especially on Easter. Maybe you haven't been for a while. Come on Easter and enjoy what the Lord is doing and just stay focused on Him. I said earlier in that opening about the importance and the priorities in life. And the priority in life, you need to think about your family first. And part of putting your family first is putting the Lord first. And so I want to encourage you to do that. There are a lot of great churches here in our community that you can be a part of. I keep a list of them. My list is at 42. So 42 Bible-believing, Jesus-loving churches right here in Huntsville. But, again, we want you to be plugged into a local church on Easter. And this year, Easter is going to be here before we know it. And you think about how quick Sunday, April the 5th is going to come up. I mean, we're less than a month from Easter. And so if you don't have a church home, or maybe you're looking, we'd love for you to come here to First Baptist. We're going to have a great Easter service. We'll also have Palm Sunday service before. So just come and be a part and experience what the Lord is doing right here at First Baptist Church. There's only one service, and that's what's cool about it. We still have a little bit of room to grow as well. But we're not focused on growth in numbers. We're focused on growth in a relationship with Jesus Christ. And I always said, first and foremost, our number one priority here at First is for people to know the Lord. And so if you come and worship, that's the number one way is to get plugged in. Come and worship. Just be with us on Sundays at 10:45. There's all sorts of other things going on, but the number one thing is to worship first. And if you come and worship here at First, I guarantee that you're going to feel like you're part of a family. We're not going to make you feel embarrassed. We're not going to call you out. Maybe you've never even been to church before and you've been thinking about going. Come and be a part here. We'd love to have you. And especially on Easter, Sunday, April the 5th, we'll have a seat waiting for you. Well, a lot of you are joining us. Ruth Halley, by the way, sent a couple of messages. Appreciate you, Ruth. She wanted to let people know that Aramark is hiring at Sam Houston State University at the General's Market. I've been over there before. It's pretty cool because it's open to the public as well, not just for the students, but the General's Market. They have a lot of different food options, so if you ever are hungry during lunch, at least it was that way a couple of years ago, you could go over there and eat if you were just part of the general public. But they are hiring. Aramark is hiring over at the General's Market at Sam Houston State University. That's over at 2012 Avenue J. They need people to help with washing dishes and also a dining room attendant to help clean up the tables. And that is a good job. It's a hard job, but it's a good job. And I know that they're looking over there. So, again, Ruth, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Aramark at the university is hiring. Hey, a big shout-out this morning. Before we go here in a few moments, want to give a shout-out to Quentin Glaze. Good morning to you. Autumn Wheaton saying good morning, Huntsville family, on this Thankful Thursday. Autumn's always so great. You know, I so appreciate folks like Autumn and Quentin and many others that engage with this show every day. You guys are the reason that we've been able to keep this going for 702 episodes. And we hope for another 702 and another 702 after that. And thank you for continuing to share the good here in Huntsville by helping us to promote the show. And this morning, if you're watching, just hit the share button. Whatever platform you're on, share it with others because you don't know how big of an impact that has. Sometimes your share could be the one that helps us reach another 300 or 400 people because you never know where the algorithm is going to send this. And so, again, thank you to all of our faithful audience that is always with us. And we want to welcome in all the new people as well. Phyllis Dillard joining us. Good morning to you, Phyllis. Jennifer Augustinetti saying it's a thankful Thursday. I'm thankful for the rain we received. Amen to that, Jennifer. Much needed. She said, y'all have a blessed day. Kyle Kreiner, who was here in studio with us a little bit earlier. Appreciate you as well. Also, Jim Beam joining us this morning. Love you, buddy. Good to hear from you. Carolyn Gibson. Our good friend Carolyn is with us. Brian Smith all the way up in Fargo saying good morning. Happy Thankful Thursday. And Kim Weezer joining us also. Many, many people. Linda Webb, good morning to you. Linda's joining us too on social as well. And I had a chance the other day. I was sitting next to Clyde Law at Rotary a couple of weeks ago. And Clyde watches us on LinkedIn. So we know that we're reaching folks through that platform as well. Well, hey, join us back on Spirit 94.3 today at 11:30. If you have a business in town, I want to encourage you, put the radio on Spirit 94.3. You know, during the morning, we have our morning show for a little bit, but then we go back to regular music, so there's a great ambience, if you will. in your office or your business, wherever you're at. And then at 11:30, we have a new show we launched last Tuesday. It's going very well. It's called Lunch Break. And from 11:30 to 1, we just highlight some local news and events. We keep you updated, and we also have just some fun segments that keep you informed. And one of them's pretty fun. It's called Useless Information, but it'll still get you to think. And the cool thing about the show is in between those segments, we still have music. So still can have that great atmosphere in your office for your clients when they come in. Something to keep them entertained, but also keep them inspired. And that's the whole focus of what we do on Spirit 94.3 is we want to encourage and uplift people and not just do it so people feel good, but we want to do it because we want people to know who Jesus Christ is. This platform has kind of taken a whole mold of its own, if you will. And, we always want it to be faith-based, but the Lord has been so good to us and provided so many resources to reach people. And we want to reach those that are lost. We want to reach those that are seeking, that are trying to find hope as well. And so thank you for sharing and being a part of the ministry here on Spirit 94.3 and also through Hello Huntsville. Well, friends, that'll wrap it up for me today. Again, Jason is out. We missed him today. Also, Josh Mashi is out at South Padre Island, doing some ministry work out there for spring break. So both those guys are out. It's just been me today. I was very thankful, though, to have Catherine and Katie come by from CASA. As I end every broadcast, reminding you this morning that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. So please provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. I promise somebody out there this morning needs you. I'll see you back at 11:30. Tune your radios into Spirit 94.3, or maybe you're saying, Rob, I don't have a radio. Well, it's easy. Go to spiritradio.fm and just listen there, or download the Spirit Radio FM app. Till then, as I end every broadcast, reminding you, we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other. So please, provide a word of encouragement, lend a hand of support. I promise somebody out there this morning needs you. Good morning, Huntsville. God bless you. See you back at 11:30 on Spirit 94.3. Until then, so long. Have a great day, everyone.